Let's welcome Who's That Meta Deck? Good day, Tamers. Welcome back to another episode with me, Agito Swiftly, for that Who's That Meta Deck episode on Friday, 26th of November. So I'm actually recording this. Hopefully, it'll be out today. Hope you guys will get to enjoy this. And this is actually the deck that I've been looking forward to the most for like 5 months now. I think it came out in July, Ex1 in Japan, and I've just been waiting for this to get to us. So you have to forgive me. And Ex2 can't get here fast enough. We didn't think it will come out in July for us next year. So, oh man, it's gonna be a painful 7 months for us to wait for that because Galantmon, Guilmon, Takato's in there. Can't wait. Just can't wait. But let's go on with this episode. Tamers, we need your help. I undoubtedly thought that we'd hit 1,000 subscribers this year. Now, if you look at that sub count, I was a little off by some numbers. But please, for love that all is holy, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment. But do it soon, as the junior editor is getting ever so angry. So, for this episode, it's going to have the wonderful Imperialdramon stuff in it. We're going to have the new Imperialdramon deck profile. This deck is fantastic. I love it. Can't wait for it. So, let's get this started. Yeah. Veemon for days. We now have access to 4 different Veemons. Very lucky, similar to how we would have access to all those different Keramons. And we definitely have more than 4 different Agomons we can access for the red video. But for now, we do have these 4 handsome lads. We have the best goddamn rookie in the whole game. Veemon with jamming, because let's make people cry. We have the new Veemon, which is inherited effect when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase. Gain a memory once per turn. Then we have the new structure deck Veemon from the All Force structure deck. We will ignore its original your turn effect because this doesn't affect this deck specifically. You could also opt in to have the All Force in here if you wanted to. Personally speaking, I think it's better to keep this as an Imperialdramon specific deck, but that's down to you, and your opinion is yours to have. Imperialdramon better. But we have, when attacking, if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, trigger, draw 1. And this is fantastic for this card because this deck kind of likes to unsuspend continuously as you climb the evolution ladder. So you're constantly just drawing and drawing. So essentially every time you Digivolve and swing, you draw again. So it's 2 draws per Digivolve basically. Yeah, it's not once per turn. That's really powerful. And I think it's something we should all look forward to because it's pretty goddamn cool. And then we have the BT2 Veemon, technically the original Veemon, although I think we got both our Veemons at the same time. That is your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes suspended during your main phase. Draw 1. So all these are pretty good, although I think you can sort of lean towards the 2 that I actually quite like. I'll play these probably 14 to 16, so you probably are looking at having a general amount here. I'd probably play 4 of the Veemons from the structure deck. I'd probably play 4 of the Veemons with jamming, just because, hey, I like jamming. And then probably look at playing 3 to 4 of the others, depending on how you want to fit your rookies in. If you like playing 16 rookies, just play 4 of each. If you like 12 to 14, then yeah, try and get these other 2 down to 2s or 3s, down to your opinion there, guys. Spicing up your life. So we have the Veemon from BT3. We've got the new Veemon. We have the Stingmon. You don't have to play the Stingmon, but I like the idea of having the Stingmon in here just because it's pretty good, and it gives you inherited piercing on your big bad boy. But when Digivolving, let's spend 1 of your level 4s lower Digimon. It's pretty good on Veemon here, especially if you've got a few on the field, especially if you've got these jamming rookies on the field. Play 2 on a regular one maybe, and spend whichever one you like, and then swing again, possibly winning games. We have Veemon here, with jamming on its own body, which is very good. We have Veemon's inherited effect is your turn. Well, this Digimon has Imperialdramon in its name, or 3 it is traits, it gains jamming. And you'll see what I mean earlier with the whole swinging and suspending, swinging and suspending. And then we have Stingmon, which has piercing on itself, and then while this Digimon has Imperialdramon in its name, or 3 in its traits, it gains piercing. Piercing is fantastic, but it is very situational compared to jamming. Jamming is always good, piercing is only good when you can suspend your opponent's stuff, or if your opponent wants to block you and doesn't realise you have jamming, but that's down to your opponent. Once more with Star, we have the Imperialdramons here. Now you can put in here the Dino Veemon. I'm going to leave that to the end of the video, so that's down to you. I prefer the Imperialdramons, but again, it's all down to you. And again, this deck will change when we get access to the Imperialdramon deck in a few months' time. When Digivolving, this is the Ex1. When Digivolving, if a Digimon card with 3 in its traits is in this card's Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon. Again, as we were saying a minute ago, swing over Veemon. Swing with the Veemon, put this on top, you get unsuspend. You can swing again. You also have Imperialdramon. If you play the original Imperialdramon, you get to unsuspend because you have Imperialdramon in its name. And then you get to swing again with jamming, and it cannot be blocked. It's fantastic. Then we have the old school Imperialdramon, which I'm still a big fan of. It has jamming on itself. Then when attacking hospital turn, if this Digimon has Imperialdramon in its names, unsuspend it. Because you'll have jamming in it, if you have the Veemon with the jamming trait, you then go into the wonderful Imperialdramon. Imperialdramon also has jamming. It gets to unsuspend because it has jamming, and then it gets to swing again. And then because you have Imperialdramon in its name under this card, you can swing again. So, depending on how you do this, you generally will be attacking at least, I want to say, 3 times per 1 turn on the evolution stacking of the turn. All hail Imperialdramon. So, if you haven't seen, these guys are pretty cool. You have the Imperialdramon, Dragon Mode, and then when one of your Imperialdramons or Veemons would digivolve into this card from your hand, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution source by 2. Jamming. This Digimon cannot be deleted in battle against security Digimon. And then, finally, when digivolving, unsuspend all of your Digimon with jamming. If you're already suspended, you will unsuspend yourself. You can swing again. If you're playing the original Imperialdramon, you will then unsuspend and swing again. If you're playing the newer Imperialdramon, then you will not be blocked. Still pretty cool. Then we have the new Dragon Mode, and that is when digivolving. If a Digimon card with free in its traits is in the Digimon's Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon. If a Digimon card with free in its traits is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Your turn. For each colour in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, gain 1000 DP. So if you're going to be using this version, this is why Stingmon it's really good, because you don't necessarily care about the whole being piercing anymore, but if you do have the Stingmon, and then you have the Imperialdramon, or you have the Veemon and the Stingmon, and how do you want to do this line, you'll gain 2000 DP. So you'll be a 13k body that's suspending one of your opponent's Digimon, possibly with a chance of having piercing. You destroy one of their cards, and then you take a security. Personally, I quite like it. Now, how I'd play this out is I probably would play 4 of the original and then 2 of these. It is all down to you how you like to play this. They are technically both a free cost Digivolution source because we're only going to be playing Imperialdramons. Gonna be ones if you'd like. But that's how I like to leave it here. We're going to go on to the ending games for days. So Omnimon. Omnimon is still a fantastic card. It's probably going to be one of the best level 7s we're going to have access to in red and blue for the foreseeable future. I know we get obviously the hybrid version in the next set, and Susanomon is fantastic, but unless you're playing a hybrid engine, that card's not that great for what we need anyway. But for now, I think this is just fantastic. Omnimon is the greatest card of BT5. Don't at me. And even if it wasn't this Omnimon, it definitely would be a different Omnimon. I know there's 4 on the screen. I would only play 2. You want to see it, but you don't want to see it all the time, because having these just clogging your hand up sucks, especially if you can't get rid of them, as there's not really any trashing of cards in blue or green. Then we go on to this, the best blue option to see gameplay. So this is Ice Wall. If you don't know what Ice Wall does, main, all of your opponent's Digimon gain, when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of your next turn. The funny thing about this is, if your opponent is trying to win the game, and they have a blocker that's already cost 2, that blocker will now cost 4. So if they're trying to win and they have to swing with blockers, there's a good chance that it'll go back to your turn, and if you can either pip them or you can stop them from doing anything, you do pretty well. And then this has the same effect as Hammer Spark, and that is insecurity, you gain 2 memory, so this can basically flip and then put things back onto your side of the field, which is pretty damn awesome if you ask me. But no, this card is terrifying, and blue control is coming for your soul. Kari's worst nightmare. So we have 4 Davises here. Now you might be thinking 4 Davises is too many, and you're probably right. But I like the idea of having 4 Davises because you get a chance to reveal 12 cards. Maths is 12. Because we are technically playing some green Digimon, you can get yourself that Stingmon. You will get yourself one of the other Digimon, as all your Digimon are either green or blue, ignoring Omnimon and your option cards. You can change this up. You can put maybe 3 Davises in and then 1 Ken, or 2 and 2. It's down to you. We'll talk about that more in the options when we get there. But this is how I like it for now. And because you have so many Davises and you only need 1 on the field to get your memory at the start of a turn, you can use this for Lobomon fodder, which is something I actually would suggest. Agito's advice. So we're going to have a quick look at this, and the first one is Cocte's Breath. Cocte's Breath is fantastic. Main, return one of your opponent's Digimon to its owner's hand, trashing all of the illusion cards. It is a 7 cost, it's very expensive. If you hit this in security at the right time, or your opponent's just made one big stack and you've got enough memory to sort of blow them away and there's not much they can do the following turn, I would recommend this card over a lot of others. V-Wing Blast. This card essentially is Coctus Breath, except it only goes up to level 6. Depending on what your opponent's playing, if you're playing against black, for instance, they will probably be having Craniumon if it's Craniumon blockers. You can pop that card back to hand, and they just look at you and just hate you for life. Yeah, return one of your opponent's level 6 Digimon or lower to your hand, trashing all the Digimon cards under that Digimon. And then Obermon, as we just said a minute ago about the Davis, it's fantastic. You might want to put 1 or 2 of these in your deck, down to you. I wouldn't put more than 2 in a deck like this, because you want to see it, but you don't want to see a lot of it. And yeah, just evolve it from one of your Tamers. As I said, if you've already got 2 Davises on the field, you can always just pop this down and then swing. If you're lucky enough to have 5 memory or 4 memory and you can swing for game, I obviously would recommend that. Lobemon is fantastic for game ending, just as much as Omnimon is. I think I've won probably as many games with Lobemon as I have with an Omnimon. So Agito's voice in green. So if you're going to play more of the green variant of this deck, I don't necessarily recommend this, but you can do this. We have access to Needle Spray for 2. Great costing card, suspends one of your Digimon, works brilliantly with your Imperialdramon. Then we have Positron Laser, which essentially works out to be a control card as well as a returning card. For 6 cost, it's not terrible. We do have to have both a blue and a green card in play, just so you can activate the card. And then you have to have a blue Digimon in play, sorry, to actually activate the secondary effect, which is to pop a card to your opponent's hand. Now this is any Digimon though, so this is pretty good against level 7s. This will avoid Digimon's effects like Omnimon's or Defeat, because Defeat obviously is a deletion effect, and obviously if he's getting popped for popping, don't pop it for popping. Pop, 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 pop. But no, it's a good card, it's just very expensive. We get access to Megadeth in the next structure decks. That card I think is basically a better version of this, if I remember correctly. But we will get there eventually, and then we'll make another deck profile and we'll go crazy. Woo, he's so amazing. I know. Then we come to the green Imperialdramon Dragon mode. And that is when one of your Imperialdramon, or Veemon, will evolve with this card from your hand. Reduce the memory cost by 2, so it's free. Has piercing. Then your turn once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, unsuspend its Digimon. This card isn't terrible, and it's not bad in any means. It's a 12k. It has natural piercing. You can give it jamming now with the Veemon from the Ex1. I just don't see the green variant taking off as much as I think a lot of people would like it to. But with the access to as much memory as we can get now in this game, especially in these colours, it's not the worst thing to see in the world. And obviously we have access to the blue version having piercing now with Stingmon. It's not terrible, but it's just, we could do better. And then for our last bit of advice today, it's Hammer Spark, which is on main, you just gain a memory, and then security, gain 2 memory. Whatever stops your opponent from being able to do things is always fantastic in my opinion. Then we have blue memory boost, and apostrophe. Main, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 blue Digimon card amongst them to your hand, placing the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then, place this card in your battle area. Main, delay. Trash this card in your battle area to gain the effect below. You cannot activate this card, the effect this card enters play, and that is gain 2 memory. Then we have a green memory boost, it's the exact same thing except you reveal 4 cards looking for the green Digimon instead. Now, if you are playing the green variant of this card, I'm going to tell you now, both these cards are going to be fantastic when we get to the structure deck, because a lot of the cards in that structure deck are classed as both green and blue at all times, making it a lot easier. But for now, I'll specifically stick to the blue variant of this deck. But that's it for today, Tamers. Thank you for being here with me today. Hopefully you've enjoyed the Ex1 profile deck for this. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. And as always, stay safe, but keep playing. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Goodbye.